these sex abuse allegations happened in the classroom during class. This was his second stop. Moretto bought a shovel, tarp, and pool supplies. But this wasn't part of some home improvement project. Detectives say these are burial supplies. Now it's time to come back to life. Look at this. I mean, can you see these bugs on here? The intruders never looked up to the camera that caught every one of their movements. The fight over this Chinese drywall, a shootout through the streets of downtown Fort Myers. Tonight, Lee County Sheriff's Office is confirming what Wink News broke last night, calling and sending this email: the stove, microwave, refrigerator, even the washer and dryer. Parents taking their kids to a PG-rated movie walked out to an R-rated scene. If it lands on your roof, this could catch fire. A woman grieves the death of her father, killed Thursday afternoon on Palm Beach Boulevard, caught between a police chase for two burglary suspects.
The police were chasing some guy, 90 miles an hour, 10-15 police cars.
Miguel Colon watched it happen. He says a detective's unmarked SUV straggled behind the fleet of cruisers.
Another police car came down, no sirens on, just his lights.
Investigators say a man driving this silver car U-turned in front of the detective. Colon says the detective hit the car with such force, it spun out of control, smashing into his truck.
Kept on boom. That's when the car that came towards me.
He and his friend tried to save the man inside.
And that's what he ended.
Colon believes it didn't have to end this way.
You should have had your siren on.
Was he going too fast?
He was coming 90 miles an hour. Are you kidding me? Look at the impact of the gray car. And the poor man didn't have a chance.
According to Lee Sheriff's policy, a deputy must be running lights and sirens when driving faster than the posted speed limit. Here along Palm Beach Boulevard, it's 45. Florida Highway Patrol troopers say the detective did have his sirens activated. A neighbor who didn't see the crash tells Wink News what she heard.
Heard multiple sirens coming up Palm Beach Boulevard and a low-flying helicopter. I heard another siren after a short interval and then a extremely large crash.
We're dealing with witnesses that I don't know if they were here at the time or not. Regardless, that's something that we look at when we, review these types of crashes.
They came in right here.
An open window enticed two teens into Carlos Gray's home. He never thought he'd be a victim.
We didn't feel like the security was all that good in here, and we better add a little bit of our own.
Brand new security cameras dot the corners of every room in his house.
They came in at 1:15 in the a.m.
Unwelcomed, uninvited, Carlos caught the intruders right on tape.
Motion for the other guy to come in.
With socks covering their hands, watch as the teens rifle through the computer room.
There goes the little camera.
Right out the window, along with a bowl of change and cash after the teens high-fived their find. But the intruders never looked up to the camera that caught every one of their movements and documented every item they stole. The teens walked away with a PlayStation, iPod, iPhone, cash, a camera, and Carlos's sense of safety.
You personally feel violated, and there's a psychological effect in there that I would not have anticipated.
Nor could Carlos know how he would feel seeing the kids on camera.
I feel sorry for them because they are nice-looking young men, and they, for some reason, they're not on the right track to have a future.
It was July 18th, 2008. Abel Arango shot and killed Officer Andrew Widman. He also shot at every officer you see here, forever changing the way they look at life, their jobs, and each other.
You do for the guys, ultimately. The guys that you're sitting next to, that's who you do it for.
You don't forget the gunshots. You can still hear that now, when you drive by or when you see the business.
Downtown Fort Myers early that Friday morning. These officers had been keeping an eye out for Abel Arango after a business owner told police he was threatening to shoot his girlfriend. Around 2 a.m. they spotted him, and the violence began.
And I told Andrew, I said, there he is, and I pointed at him. And once I pointed at him, Andrew started running.
It's the toughest story Officer Alan Gagnon tells. What happened next changed the lives of everyone involved.
I couldn't stop him. I don't know why he ran. I knew he might have had a gun. And I told him. But he ran towards him, and I ran behind him. I need a minute.
He watched as Officer Widman came face to face with Abel Arango.
And I seen a gun, he raised the gun, just like that, in his face. Shot Andrew, and then he turns the gun, shot at me. He missed, I don't know how. We were right next to each other.
A shootout through the streets of downtown Fort Myers was about to ensue. It started here, where a plaque now marks the final moments of Officer Andrew Widman's life. Just a city block away, another officer was about to start a firefight with Widman's accused killer, not knowing what just happened.
I tried to get him to leave the area because I didn't realize it was the bad guy. At that point there, after I told him a couple times to leave the area to warn him, he kind of waved his hands at me and shunned me away, and walked a few more steps. Then he pulled his gun out, started firing at me.
Officer B.J. Aids emptied his shotgun at Arango and then grabbed his handgun.
So we began shooting at each other. And I tell you, it felt very lonely because I couldn't see any other officers.
But they were close. Just around the corner, more officers were mounting their attack.
I mean, there was cars left in the middle of the street, empty, running. Scott runs up next to me, Alan runs up next to me, and we're all hunkered down behind this little car. So we had the perfect vantage point. Everybody gave him verbal commands. He was still in a shooting stance. He wasn't putting his gun down. And then that's when Alan took a couple volleys of shots.
Fired off 9 rounds by my head and I didn't even hear it.
Just so focused.
Yeah, so focused. It's called tunnel vision. You lose perception of everything around you but what's directly in front of you.
All I saw was the muzzle flash coming out of his gun. And I said, you got him, you got him.
I think that's when I believe I hit him in the neck. I shot him.
Even though gunman Abel Arango would die from that shot, the emotional toll for police still isn't over. The other officers had yet to learn their brother of the badge was dead.
Everything kind of like goes into this slow motion. It's kind of like when you see it on, I don't know, on TV, on Hollywood, where stuff just starts slowing down and voices get all distorted, and then you got to put yourself into reality check.
Because that's the ultimate thing a police officer can give, is his life, line of duty.
Not a day goes by they don't remember the young husband, father, and friend.
I keep his card with me all the time, and I'll always have it, and I'll never get rid of it. It really puts the job into perspective. Live every day like it's your last. Be nice to everybody you meet, and stay safe.